Hello there, and welcome back to Drawing 101, Seeing the World Anew. This is lesson 6, Combining Contour and Angles. We're going to take what we've learned so far. We started out with contour, and then we began giving ourselves a structure by looking at angles. And we're going to combine these two tools to help us to come up with a completed line drawing. We're not going to focus on shading or on value or any of that stuff, but just using angles and contour to help us to describe what we're seeing. I'm going to go through a drawing with you, not by video but with slides, and you'll see the steps that I take, starting with broad angles, moving to subtle angles, and then basically refining all the way to contour, using the map that the angles have given us to define the shapes and the form that we see. Alright, so here we are. We've got our nice image, a singing lady with her accordion, excellent. And I'm going to take you through the steps that we've learned so far with angles and contour and putting it all together to come up with a drawing. It's more than just a technique, but a way you can approach and bring yourself to a completed line drawing. And we're not going to be going into value or anything like that at this point, but with these simple tools you can really draw anything. So first step, even before broad angles, I suggest you draw a square, as you can see here, that is proportionate to the square of your image. It will really help make everything easier for you to get the angles and the relationships correct from the beginning, and definitely something you should do first before you get started. And once you have that set up, you can move on to broad angles, as you can see I've done here, looking for a way to contain the form that you are drawing. So you can see I drew this angle along the left side of the singing wonderfulness here, and then this angle is just taking that to the top, and I'm looking for things like, so where does this angle end in relation to the square, this square, and taking it up and seeing about where that lies on that top line. And then from here, taking the angle all the way down to about where this accordion is, and then from there going down from right to left to the bottom. So that's these two lines here. So just keeping things real simple, giving you a place to start and looking for where points end, approximately where does this end in relationship to the center you could use of this line. So you're looking for where that comes across, right over somewhere in here, just from right here. So just be looking for things to compare to really get your points correct from the beginning. So let's move on to step 2. Subtle angles, beginning to get more refined. This is stage 1 of subtle angles, and basically just looking for angles, looking for the angle starting from the top here of this hat, simplifying it into angles, coming down over here. That's what I did right here. This line is the angle of the shoulders, so I'm looking for that. These lines are the angles of the accordion, and looking for where this stops in relationship to the shoulders, how far along it stops, so looking for that appropriate place. Doing this all along with where this line, which is this line here in the middle, where is that in relationship to the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and always adjusting. You can always be adjusting these things as you go along to get it just right. So moving along, subtle angles, step or stage 2, refining even more, blocking in the hand, blocking in this bottom part of the shirt, blocking in this silly scarfness going on up top here, blocking in the shape of the hat and the shape of the head. Also blocking, or drawing lines rather, for approximately where the line of the mouth is, cross, and seeing where does that end up on the outside of this hat. It's a little below halfway, so making sure that this is a little below halfway. My first attempt with the nose, I decided to move up just a little bit to here, just to make sure it was lined up properly. So refining and getting the shape here of the accordion, and just really trying to give myself a map from which I can continue to refine. So let's move on to the final stage, and this is now from those angles that I've established. All I begin to do is look for more detail and look to follow the contour, and using my angles as a guide. So I even did some blind contour in here, some blind contour down here. You see different thicknesses of the pencil used and weights, just kind of showing where shadow, suggesting where shadow could be, and defining the glasses and the nose and every little thing that you can. You don't got to go too crazy getting every final detail. You could take it to this level of completion when you do your image, but you can see here the basics, the simple steps that you can use to draw pretty much anything using this approach, which is first establishing the broad angles to give yourself a broad map, getting more defined with those with subtle angles to really get clear on where everything is lining up, remembering about relationships and points and comparing them to other points to get things in the right place, and then from there really defining the details and the contours of the shapes and all the nooks and crannies, and playing around with the different mark making techniques that we used and that we learned about early on. So there you have it. Now for your assignment, you're going to be doing the same thing with a different image and going through each step. Really take your time to do every single step and trying to get it right, because as you do each step with more accuracy, the easier it is down the line. And remember that we're not worrying about value or shading or anything like that. That's something we can learn later on to expand upon our drawing skills. So for now, we're just focusing on contour and angles and describing what we see with line. So I hope you enjoy this assignment and have fun.